It appears we are live. We have the wonderful Anya Day there on the left, and myself, Paul Hanrieder, on the right. And as usual, it appears we are live. Facebook has launched this. We have the wonderful
I
Anya
hear the
Day.
replay.
It's working.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll tune it in so we can see it in the comments, and we're good to go. So we're going to jump right into it. We've got an hour today. Anya was just telling me some beautiful stuff about her experience last week with her girlfriends and the effects on her. So wade in, my dear.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Um, I was just sharing with Paul how I stepped back into the 3D world of things, which consists of friends and drinks and going out, which I haven't done in a long time. And the whole time I was telling myself, don't drink, or if you do, just have like one beverage. That's it. Like, and I was coaching myself, and even just being in that kind of environment, like it didn't like bother me or anything, but I could just see the facade of it all, just the that 3D setting, and like just everyone's energies, and just like it was just even my friends, like I was like, how am I still friends with these people? Like they're nice people, it's just two different split paths of just energies. But
So did you go to a bar or a lounge or something?
it was it was like a bar lounge.
Okay. So how did the energy of the place feel? And then feel the energy of the people, just to kind of help people explore their experience when they go out.
In my current now version, it just there was like a lot of energy, so it just felt clogged. But people were just trying to have a good time. But like I didn't feel great. I didn't have like the best amount of fun as I would in another version of me. It was just okay, I'm here and this is what I'm doing. It was very neutral.
And did it didn't feel very grounded, I'm assuming?
No, no.
And was there truth and honesty, like just wading into what you kind of went into in the pool?
You
How
know,
did you feel?
one of my friends is waking up, and she was going to take the vaccine, but then she decided not to. So she started finding all of these facts, and she had to share all of them with me. And I'm just, or with
Beautiful.
us, because there's three of us. And I'm just like sitting there nodding, like, okay, tell me something I don't know. But she's on her own waking journey. But it was all like, you talk about very dense things like, work,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, like on
Mm-hmm.
a very, that kind of a level. But the real kicker is I had an Aperol spritz, and I was like, okay, I'm cool, that's fine. And then this lady, but our energy, because we're all Leos, it was amazing. But the waitress messed up my order, and she decided to reconcile it by bringing us free mezcal shots. So I'm just like, oh, this is the one that tips it
Mm-hmm.
over the edge. So
Mm-hmm.
just those two drinks alone cost me 3 days of time to recuperate.
And how did you feel in those 3 days?
I felt disconnected, very sluggish, very low vibrational, and I could see myself opening up to a host of low density things trying to attach to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I allowed it, and I was just like, and like my spirit was over here, and I'm like, come back.
So what in your learning, what does alcohol do to your body? And then map
It
it to what you felt.
it cuts holes in your field, and it disconnects you from source, the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
It ungrounds you,
Mm-hmm. Like
and
permanently.
and that's what I was feeling. I couldn't do
For those.
anything,
Yep. Keep going.
and like the ascension is already a roller coaster, but to like spice it up with this come down of alcohol poisoning
Mm-hmm.
uh,
You
was
call it poisoning, so
it is poison.
that's how it felt. Okay.
Yeah, and I wish that there was a thing that we could, an elixir that we could drink,
Mm-hmm.
but just didn't have such effects.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Absolutely. Okay, so you said it cut holes in your field.
Yeah.
So they call it a spirit.
Yes.
most people call alcohol a spirit, right? And
Mhm.
there's a reason there's an energy that's inherent in that fermentation and rotting of basically
Rains.
apples and grains and all these kind of things. It's does that, and then it goes into our system. So look at how crazy it is. We're in a world where the only place we let our guards down is in a ungrounded place with a whole bunch of other people, call it a bar,
Hmm.
whatever. Um, and then we go and drink this stuff, which opens us and it frees our inhibitions because now all of a sudden we're being vulnerable and open, but against our will in a lot of ways because
Yeah.
it's just kind of flowing out. Some people may say it's not against our will because we knowingly take the alcohol, but look at the escape that it's used, like on TV or whatever in a show, and it's like somebody's like fucking in a massive emotion. What do? They just drown alcohol until they drowning themselves in it, and then eventually get to this numbness where they don't have to deal with the emotion and they disconnect from their body and their spirit. And then you're saying it's 3 days long. So how many people that are going on benders every other day or whatever really just
Every
stay
weekend.
out of their experience? And
Yeah.
every weekend, yeah. And
So
people are
it's,
spending hundreds of dollars on alcohol every weekend to love their friends and have a blast, right?
yeah. And it's fun during the moment of it, but like you don't even have any downtime to process it because you have to go to work the next day,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
probably, or 2 days.
So why is it fun? Because all the stuff that you talked about just now was kind of heavy and dark.
I think it's fun. Like you said, it lowers your inhibitions. So you, in this weird way, you are allowed to feel more things in the moment and
And to be
say
your true
things
self,
freely.
I
Yeah.
bypass your programming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like a social thing. Like it I guess connects, yo, I'm drinking, you're drinking, so we'll, drink together and be silly.
But they ended up talking about a whole bunch of physical 3D stuff that didn't really matter. How's your job? How's your dog? How's your grandma?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Was that thing that anything that added to yourself or your reality, or was it just mindless blither that came out to meet a status quo that's unstated?
It was a mixture because sometimes I'll just ask questions and see how those 3D things I could apply to my own thing. So I'll
So
try to
you're
ask
guiding it
questions.
to meet your needs, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, I couldn't be, I couldn't have this conversation.
So we're kind of our free time, which is this time that a lot of people, that's what they do, is they go to the bar. Now it's all been cut off because you can't even go to these places or hardly have any of it. um, we're living in a place where we got to give up part of our spirit and part of our soul for a while, and that's the thing we're guided to as normal and fun and best.
Yeah.
Is that kind of insane?
Very.
What if it was like you had a whole bunch of people come to a community hall or to your basement, and it wasn't around a religion or a whole bunch of stuff, it was just around expressing yourself and creating a safe space with other people, and it was, let's talk about philosophy from a grounded space, let's talk about your emotions, let's make it a free flowing place. Because people have an emotion when they have alcohol, but are they really healing it? No, it's just kind of like a
No.
something that bubbles out for the second, and then you're back into closed off, right?
Yeah, or like try to forget even having emotion if it was like a rough time for whoever.
Well, and the people that have come at this time and place have a lot of trauma. And the
Yeah.
people that are waking up, that trauma is literally the thing that's squashing them, and they're going to come out. It's like crushing them from the cocoon perspective, and it's going to come out.
Yeah.
So awakening people are feeling these pulls to different things, but we have no places or community or whatever to be able to go and self-explore.
Yeah.
Where do we go to self-explore in our normal world? Is there really any place
Online. That's
online where you can hide and you can have a facade and it doesn't
yeah.
even have to be your own name? And really, are you being vulnerable if you're vulnerable and nobody even knows who was vulnerable. I think
Yeah.
there's a detachment in that.
Yeah. There isn't really like a physical place.
Well, even a church, right? You go in and it's like, okay, you confess your sins and you do your penance and you go home and you're a good person, but oh, you better pay your tithing and all this kind
Oh
of
my
stuff.
God. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Stop. Rinule? I have to go to yoga at 11.
No, after
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no problem.
Boundaries
Hi,
don't
Dad.
exist.
Hi, Dad. I think you're surprised.
He was surprised.
Yeah. So let's explore that. So there's no other real place. We talked about
No.
yoga. You're going to go to yoga in
Yeah.
a little bit. And we're
But
going to get
even
into our next topic right off of this.
Yeah.
It's full of a bunch of wounded people that are spiritually higher than thou, or I'm the Zen yogi on the mat, and everybody's just so sectioned off. How often do you even have a conversation with a person coming out of yoga because they had emotion, or they're just rushing out the door and they're sweaty and stinky from hot yoga? Even there's a place that's a spiritual Zen, like monastery kind of place where it's supposedly cleaned and stuff. And we're still not interacting with people. There should be like get together for tea afterwards and talk about what showed up, because how many times do you get on the mat and you're just like crying out tears? Sometimes you just want to escape, but other times it'd be a beautiful place to say, I saw this, I felt this. What do you think? So yoga is like 2 hours. It's like go into the tea room afterwards, or we host the space.
Community. Yeah. Everyone is so, don't talk to me. Like, you're right. Like I'll lay until the person comes to clean the space. Like I'll lay, like, I can't move. And like, I'll look around and like, maybe there's 1 or 2 people, but everyone else cleared out.
Mm-hmm. So let's step back a step. So look at the yoga studios. They're in the classy high place and they're all dazzled up with Bodhi trees and all this spiritual art. And then you go in the room and it's all Zen and all this kind of stuff. Some of the places where they have carpet on the floor and it's hot yoga, holy shit, the stank in those places, but that's a whole different thing. But then it's like everybody's stuck on their mat and they just sit there and they're just like, I'm holding space for myself. Nobody's kind of interacting. The teacher comes in, it's very structured. Look at the clothing. Even for women, it's this massive thing. I got to be hot and sexy and tight yoga pants and all this kind of stuff. And they're never really, it's all about an image.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even the image infiltrated, that spiritual thing where it should be, just like you communing with your breath, really.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's kind of attached itself to like, look at these spandex things. You need, like, what's that brand, that big yoga brand?
Lululemon.
That's the one.
Yeah. And you pay 3 times what a pair of yoga pants is worth because it's got the little Om symbol or whatever.
For aesthetics, yeah.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then, it's all about how long you can hold the pose. How many people do you know have kind of broken down in the middle, right? Like they're falling down and then they're all embarrassed, and that's all part of yoga. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone's in the classes I've taken are embarrassed. Like everyone's just doing their best, but generally there could be a lot of self-consciousness.
Well, there's a structure and it's like, be as good as everybody else and do your downward dog or your tree pose or whatever. And there's a lot of balance and there's a lot of shit going on in your system. And to accept that you're not perfect and that's not going to always happen is the best way to go. But there's a lot of perceived pressure to not disturb the class or whatever. I'm just speaking from some of mine. I'd prefer to be in the back of the class just because that's where my energy is. But then there's this guilt that, oh, you're staring at women's asses because they're in their yoga pants and all this kind of stuff. And there's this self-consciousness that goes with that. I'm not saying it's bad, but look at all these spiritual places that we go to where there's so much structure and other things that really has twisted this place. You're going to be mind, body, and spirit and connect with soul and all this kind of stuff. And you don't really, because there's all these societal rules and how it looks and what it looks like.
And the people that go, the actual people that go.
I don't like to say anything bad about people, but these are collectors. You were saying these are collectors of people that are in their churn or whatever, but it's also, you were talking about a cafe. We'll come to that in a sec or whatever, but it's collectors of people that have a lot of really dark in them. And it's an opportunity to be around a whole bunch of really open people, and a bunch of connections can be happening in the background that you're not even aware of, because this is a concentrator of people that are awakening, have broken auras, have all this kind of stuff. And then dark can come through people that have those same breaks, and it becomes this weird
So,
demented energy. Yeah.
yeah, alcohol.
Well, it's like alcohol, but now you're in a spiritual place where you're going for the zen and the breathing and all this kind of stuff, which is opening your heart and stuff, but it's left you exposed.
Yeah.
You were talking about the Gratitude Cafe or something in
Cafe
California.
Gratitude. It's there's a few locations in California, like concentrated in LA, but it's supposed to be like the same thing you're describing, like zen, and like the waitress or waiter is supposed to ask you, what are you grateful for? Or they give you an affirmation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like this comedian a long time ago. She worked at Cafe Gratitude and she did a stand-up bit of how they would have to do an affirmation and like the clientele would be like, I know. But like, it's filled with a lot of Hollywood focused narcissistic people, I guess, that are, you could feel the energy just like, but like they come to these places where, it's supposed to be super healthy, mindful food and gratitude and expression of that nature. But
But it's also a collector, like it's
yeah,
really neon sign on the map, and anything that's dark that needs a place to
light.
feed off of,
Yeah.
you're just going to go there and it's going to sit in the energy. And no
Yeah.
matter what the intention of the person was that created, and I honor that, if it happened too long ago, they were just like open themselves up to all the stuff that wants to kind
Come
of
through.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's all good, but so going back to where we started, so there's all these places that we're going to feel good. We can also talk about spiritual communities. There's groups like that are awakening our sexuality, things like ISTA, and there's Kadoshka, and all these places where all these people are collecting that have wounds. So the wound, and there's a push pull of kind of dark energies and past and trauma and pain and all this kind of stuff, and we're coming together in these held spaces to explore ourselves with a whole bunch of other people that aren't even completely themselves. So they can be really scary mixing pots where we can pick stuff up, as well as like I've been through an ISTA process, which is a beautiful process and it'll crack you wide open, but they believe that you're absolutely supposed to be self-supporting through the whole thing. So they'll get, if you ask for help, they'll give it to you, but there's no actual outreach or how did your integration go for the 3 months after. And those were all things that drove me nuts because I had nobody to talk to about it. Right, you come out of the experience, yeah, you had a few people or whatever. My ISTA experience was, oh, I should explain it to you. It was crazy. You go in through these really deep processes, and each of my processes, the first process, we were just kind of open, and we had these pod groups where I had like 3 other women that we'd sit with every morning at breakfast and just go through things. And by the third day, one of the girls, she was kind of a wounded little girl is what I saw, but she was nice. Right? She came up to me and she says, "Are you welcome to some feedback?" And I'm like, "Okay, great." And she says, "You have a need that makes me feel really uncomfortable and it drives me nuts," was her share. And it feels very sexual and dirty and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, okay. So I walked away and I spent the day talking to every man that, and I said, this is what a woman said to me. And how do I hear that? And how do I feel that? And I got, by the end of the day, I was so proud of myself. I got to the point where I said, an aware need is good. One that's not aware is dark, right? It's narcissistic and other things. And I was like, so happy. So the next morning we went into a group, which was like 35 people. And I knew something was going to happen. I just got anxious. I'm like, fuck, something's coming down. And so we they wanted it to do the integration thing. So we had this popcorn share, and this woman jumped up and she said, me. And she said, you in the middle now. She came over to me like some kind of fucking demon and said, you in the middle now. And the instructor came over and said, no, this isn't going to happen. I said, no, I'm perfectly okay. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing or was getting myself into. And I said, I'm okay with this. And they said, okay, we're going to monitor this. So I sat in the middle. I was cross-legged across from her. She wouldn't even sit down. She was standing up and she says, I know what you are. And it ended up, I was her dad for her. In that moment, in that time and place, I was her dad, and her dad had raped her and all these things. And she went off like a fucking dragon. And I'm sitting there, and it was the first time I had ever really, really held space for a woman. So I was sitting there and I literally felt this like kind of bubble go around both of us. And I was holding her with my energy, and flames were just pouring out of her body at me, but they wouldn't hit me. They just like, there was a field around me and they're just going past me. And I can just feel all these like pummels on my chest of energy and she screamed like that for about 15 minutes until she fell down in whatever. And the instructors separated us, put me off to the side, and I was just like, fuck, what the fuck just happened? My heart was pounding, and there was trillions of watts of energy in me. And then the group watched, and so many people said, what the fuck just happened there? And I'm like, that was off the charts, kind of holding space for a woman. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break. And I said, I might need longer. I'm going for a walk, and I'm out and I'm screaming and just trying any way to get these energies out.
Yeah.
And then it happened 3 more times.
Holy shit.
Not in that same way. Another one was like a sacred spot massage that I was receiving, and the girl freaked out in the middle and started to try and hit me and punch, and a sacred spot is about as exposed as you can get as a man. Thank God the instructors felt it coming or something, because they were on her in a second, and they were literally holding her. She was like this 90-pound girl, and she's like a feral animal. And I'm like, when do I get my session finished or whatever? Because it never happened, because she got the whole thing. And there was 2 more that happened. And these are spaces where you really crack wide open. And I guess I agreed to be what I now know as a sacred splinter and help these people through it. But at my own expense in a lot of ways. I paid for a $2,000 course and all this kind of shit. And I learned really well how to hold space and stand up to anything. I knew I never was going to be hurt. I knew all this stuff. And then near the end, I kind of crashed, and I was just laying on the couch waiting for somebody to come and say something or whatever. And nobody came. So I went to the hot tub, and one of the guys that was partly the instructor, I kind of popped a little bit. He was like an assistant. There's what I'm looking for. Kind of popped a little bit, and some of my stuff vented, and oh fuck, he was not impressed. And he was telling me how about I should hold my shit. And then he went back to the instructors and told them that I was unsafe or whatever. And like, this is the kind of fucking containers that are there. And it's like, what I really needed was somebody to sit down with me and talk about the fucking shit that happened and say that that's not normal and you didn't deserve any of it. But I remember the main guy, he told me about the sacred splinter thing, but nobody apologized or said that that's not normal or that's not something that was me or whatever. But at that time in my life, I was still carrying, I didn't even know it then, but I was carrying the predator energy of the man that hurt my mother. And I was trying to not be that. And I had the energy and it was fully under control. It wasn't like I was touching it, but they could feel it. And then that identified with their father or whatever shit they were going through.
Yeah.
So talk about getting really jaded in these places that are supposedly light and safe and other things. And I don't have anything bad against the ISTA experience, but just the fact that these things could come up and nobody would sit down at a really early place and explain to me what the energies were and why these were and why women had these in them or whatever, so that I could at least process it. Because I had to figure this shit out all by myself. Yeah. And every time I'd ask for support, it was just like, you're acting weak and all this kind of shit. And I was just like, fuck you.
Well, they probably never had dealt with anything like that either, so it was probably beyond them too.
Well, yeah, I don't know about the instructors, but this is stuff that shows up all the time at these experiences or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel, and this is my experience, I'm not claiming
Hmm.
it for everyone, but I don't really feel that they've got a way to deal with those energies.
No.
They'll teach you how to scream and cry out your shit and whatever,
Hmm.
but when these experiences are connected with other people, how do you
Like,
own that for yourself,
like
right?
in the moment, yeah.
In the moment, nobody cared for me or counseled me after that. They gave the girl a lot of attention,
Attention, yeah.
and it was just like, oh, are you okay? Yeah, well, she didn't hit me, but I'm sitting there wide open trying to have my experience, and it never came.
So it
So
seems like they, in theory, know how to apply this. They can talk about it and host this little safe space, but when it's in action, they still have that gap of how to handle.
I, how to describe it, anyone that's a sexual healer has their own wounds and they're working through their own wounds in it, and I'll be the first to admit that. And when you're in your own wound at the same time with other people's wounds, can you really support that other person? You don't even have support for yourself.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's the experience that's happening. And I'm not saying they're not trained or they're not capable of it. And it's really nothing about them. It's just the fact that these really strong spaces are being created and we don't have support mechanisms for the people coming out of them. And that's a really hugely formative time. And that's what we're trying to do with living your light, is have support communities where you can talk about the emotions and even make a statement like that. You know how long I had to keep that in shame? Like these women were screaming and complaining at me. Out of that whole thing, the first woman came at the end and kind of gently thanked me.
Mm-hmm.
She still didn't even know what had happened or whatever. She's like, I don't know what happened, but I appreciate what you did or whatever. The other ones,
Hmm.
they left there hating me, hating my fucking guts and projecting on me that I'd done something to them. And I didn't. I just received an experience, and we can get into a whole bunch of details or whatever. Everything was within consent and discussion, but sometimes your brain shuts off in the middle of that and they might say yes. And then all of a sudden you touch their hand and it's like, the whole thing comes out. I can't change that.
Whew.
So that's the same thing that's going on in all of our relationships. At like, yoga is a pretty calm down place or whatever, but there's so many places. In a bar, how many times does raw trauma come screaming out and
Oh, it's
people
all.
to fight and slap the boyfriend or have a punch fest or whatever? It happens, right? Because we don't have ways, maybe not at some of the bars you've been, but after you get there at 2 a.m. or whatever and
Sure.
inhibitions drop, that's why
Really.
the bouncers are so big.
Yep.
Put you in a
Yep.
headlock and choke you out until you stop, right?
Yeah. It was just so surreal to, have this year long gap of silence, where you couldn't go to an establishment like this and then have this transformation happen and then have it open back up and just be a completely different and just operate in this new way and like just see the energies for what they are and just you can really feel the 3D split. Like I
Mhm.
always in the beginning when I was reading about this split, I always thought it would be something physical. Like or somehow I will see it, but it's like no, it's all internal. And like I feel it happening internally first.
Mhm. So the split from what?
3D to 5.
Okay. So, okay, let's go there. We'll switch into the next topic, but anybody that's awakening now and feeling these energies and feeling exhausted and feeling all these kind of things, there's massive changes going on in their energetic body, their physical body, all this kind of stuff. Anya and I have been talking all weekend about how we don't even feel like we're participating in reality anymore. Everything's surreal.
Very.
Everything's just really broken feeling. I'm getting calmer and calmer every time, but there's so much anxiousness that's going through my body and all my old past traumas and all my past stories. And there's a thing that I just said, right? I'm reliving these traumas that I had with my ISTA experience. So they're no longer in me and they're no
Mhm.
longer holding me, and there's no longer a density to that.
Mhm.
I was just going to comment. Amanda's in the on the side here It's all an experience to 0 point. We don't know till we know that. Fully agreed. We're releasing it. And she said she had her child at a graduation, and she put a bubble around the three of them, and nobody would come, or nobody was sitting at her table at the end, which is beautiful because it just shows that your containers set a boundary of what energy was allowed in, and nobody else felt at that similar level, which is a testament to you. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's fine.
It's exactly fine.
Yeah.
So continuing on, we also have talked that we've lost every single one of our friends. We don't resonate with anyone anymore, and we feel alone and lost and all this kind of shit. But it's part of the process, right?
Yeah.
You can't drag everybody over to 5D.
No.
Can't drag your folks over. You can't drag your kids over. That's the hardest one for me. All I can do is create a space where they'll want to follow.
Yeah.
So how does that work? When does that happen? Fuck, last night my son and I just had a crying match. It was just like, fuck, I don't want to be here anymore. This place does not feel safe or fun. I don't want to build anything here. I don't want to create anything. I don't want to buy anything. I just feel like in limbo, like I'm being trapped here until I let go. And I don't know what to let go of.
Yourself.
Well, that whole definition and all the things you're waiting to be repaid for, or have something better show up. You got to fucking let it go and vomit that out, because those are attachments.
I was in the same space for sure. Like, why am I here? What the fuck is this place? Where do I find the key? But in my dream last night, I had a dream. I was like, I was talking to like a Joe Rogan-esque figure. Maybe it was you, but it was like a Joe Rogan-esque figure. And I was like, how do I get out of the matrix? And I remember this. And before I woke up, all I remember him saying is programming. And that was it. So I was like, okay, programming.
Okay. So I woke up yesterday. Fuck. Feels like a week ago, yesterday morning. Woke up in the shower, and I've always been worried about certifications. I don't have massage therapy certificate, and I don't have all this, and everybody attacks me because I'm talking about sexual healing stuff, and where's my diploma or whatever. And I don't know, you may know this, but not many other people may know, I'm a computer engineer. I got a Bachelor of Science in computer engineering. And I'm sitting in the shower, and it's like, fuck, that's the certification. That trumps everything. I can reprogram a person. You've seen it. We'll sit there and talk about shit, and I'll go underneath and I'll read the lines of code, and I'll say, why the fuck are you saying this? And you're like, ugh. And then we reinsert some new code.
Yeah.
And it's done. So we're 100 million plus lines of code. Talk about something interesting on the side. There's this thing called the Wingmaker's prophecy, where it goes back and it talks about the Anunnaki and how humans were created in this 1.0 form to be slaves, to collect gold. And we got out of control because the Wingmaker or the Anunnaki couldn't stay here anymore. It got too dense. And what they're talking about is that programming was revised to make more modern society. And we're in the point where we're writing the 2.0 version of the human. And it's literally code. We are going in there and unwinding and releasing. So all the shit with your parents and all the shit with your culture and religion and all that kind of shit are all lines of code that are being moved out of your operating system.
Yes.
And I am perfectly aligned to be able to do that. And the fact that I know about sexuality, I can go in and do the bias level. Do you know what bias stands for?
Mm-mm.
In a computer, that's that DOS prompt that shows up on the screen at the very top when you first turn it on, American Megatrends or whatever. Basic input output system. So basically, when I go into your sexuality and we start talking about root traumas and all this kind of stuff, we're changing your bias level code. And that's the input system. That's where the interface port is with the man, and your connections to reality and physicality are all in your bottom two chakras. So that bias level, when it's got a whole bunch of impurities in it that reroutes energy, because that's what the darkness does. It wants to get in control of all your sexuality. So every time that you're having sex or that big blast of energy comes, they get a fucking high like you would not believe. And that's every human being has some attachment to their sexuality, and they don't even know it. So we got to go in and reload a new basic bias in everybody, and then clean out all the freaking attachments, all the trauma, all the bubbles that are in the body.
Yeah. I hear, because my parents are both programmers, so I'll hear source code all the time. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, that's interesting. Like, yeah, our DNA is like this source code, and like that's what's happening right now is like it's becoming activated and like inserting new scripts of this, like you said, 2.0 human.
Mhm. So now we go into a human. Okay, so a human is a projected reality that comes from our brain. It's based on energy and it creates a physical form or a hologram around us.
Yes.
So the code that is in there that filters how your eyes see, filters how things go out, that it's all bad, the world's fucked up, all these kind of things are all bits of programming that come in, and we're controlled by that until we can become aware. And you talked the other day about feeling like we're being Neo and we're stopping the bullets in the Matrix, and now all of a sudden we can see the flows of all the code, and now all of a sudden you're not even seeing the person as a person, you're now just seeing them for all the programming that they are. And you've been seeing that for a long time, right? Like this person is a blah and I see their flaws, right?
Yeah, I could read the energies a lot more now. It's crazy, and I don't know if it was just like a one-time thing, but like I was eating food yesterday with my parents and it all just tasted like fucking cardboard. Like I didn't taste anything. And I don't know, maybe it was just that batch, but like I was like, I don't taste anything anymore. Like I don't taste it. I
It's
can't even
starting
eat
to
this.
shift. Well, what did they eat on the Matrix ships, right? It was this
Exactly, that porridge.
glob.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, okay, here we go.
Well, and then he says, maybe this tastes like mini wheats. How do we know if they didn't fuck up the code or whatever in mini wheats, right? And if
Yeah.
you look at that, and then you go back to really basis reality. I don't know if we talked about this before, but let's say your mother wanted to fuck with you and she said green was red and red was green. And for the rest of your life, up until 8, you believe that.
Yeah.
Could you go to a stoplight and function in society anymore?
No.
Because that means I can go and that means I can whatever. But now it's inverted. You would fuck up the whole matrix. You would have an accident and kill people everywhere you went just because that one fundamental line of code.
Yeah.
Now, look how big that is. Like that goes out into everything, right? All of a sudden the burner's hot instead of cold or whatever. Just one line of code.
That 1984, there was like a line about 2 + 2 = 4 or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because we decided to, because
Mm-hmm.
someone had said it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole red green thing just brought me to that really quickly. Is Amanda saying anything?
Yeah, she says yes, reprogramming self. She agrees, and before she said, especially when we get clean. So literally, that's what we're doing: is we're combing
Purifying.
through our code.
Yes.
Did I bring those bells on the
Yeah.
last call or whatever?
Yeah.
That is the most purifying thing for your code. A constant tone that's high pitched and ringing puts a resonance in our code.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start to be aware of this programming kind of thing, you also be aware that we're vibration, right? So your projector is putting out a vibration that creates what you create. So code becomes to be seen as what's in resonance and what's in dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden frequency can now adjust code as well, because the things that are in dissonance are the things that make us tight and not feel good and not sing like that bell.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because now just somebody texted me, some guy from the Amazon has been my friend or whatever, and he's asking me, he needs $100, and now he's saying he can't sell, it's his son's birthday, and he says I don't have to celebrate his birthday, I guess, because he couldn't get a present. Like, what a fucking guilt trip.
Major.
I hardly know this person, but he's like talking about ayahuasca and all this kind of stuff. It's just like friends that are friends until they need money, and then when you don't give it, they're not your friend. I got a little finger there for those people. I've had that in my life.
That's a good finger.
So if we start looking at frequency, purity, resonance, and starting to align with that, and when you don't feel it in your body, you feel out of sync with everything, we're resonating at what higher frequency now? We're resonating at a 5D frequency. The only thing that keeps us here is the mud that's not quite at it. So we just got to keep accelerating the body into resonating at a higher and higher frequency, putting higher and
Yes.
higher frequencies around us. I guess get into the sun as I'm feeling it, get out on the water, and then the rest of the mud's going to wash off. What happens when your feet aren't in the mud anymore? Where do you go? Because we talked about the rapture last time, right? And I feel there's nothing left to input into this world because I've done my work. There's no creation, there's no books or anything that I'm going to give because they can't even read it because they can't understand the frequency of what I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel that as soon as we shed that earthly coil is the words that came out, but that 3D coil, we just pop out to a higher frequency. It's not that we're not physical still because, well, is 5D even physical?
No, I thought like there would be a physical thing, but maybe it's like a result of the inner shift that the physical could shift, but it is all internal. It's all in here. Heaven is inside.
Mm-hmm. But we're not leaving humanity, we're
No.
bridging humanity. So maybe we pop out and then a foot comes back in.
Or like
And
a
we still,
bridge.
we have to be the bridge. That I've always seen. It's always one foot. It's like the lifeboat is over here, which is 5D, and this is 3D, and I'm standing with one foot, my head sticking out and an arm sticking out, and it's like grabbing people and pulling them on board.
Yeah.
So we still have to have a physical side, but can we be in 5D until we let go of all of the 3D that still pulls at us? And then once we step back in, I kind of see like a condom of energy that comes in our foot. It's like our nuclear biological suit or whatever. We're just kind of, okay, here's my army green arm and my face mask.
Oh gosh. No, but yeah. Well,
You
I
wouldn't want to
just
bring that unclean or that old energy or that density across because it would just hurt 5D. But it's like as they come through the wall, then they go into the shower and then they're purified and they enter.
yeah, I just had a flash of
Mhm.
like the Da Vinci Man, you know, his illustration where it was like the man
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
like I don't know, for some reason when you said that that came up for me. So like maybe like that's what we are, like this Da Vinci Leonardo da Vinci illustration where we're this, you know,
Well, look at this arm. It's going up to God and connecting all the divine. This foot is anchoring onto a
earth.
5D space, the new earth, whatever you want to call it. And then the other arm is reaching out for the light over here, trying to
Yeah.
pull that light and hold that frequency. And the other foot's grounding into it. And then the arm comes out and it's like, are you ready? Come. And we got to speak in that space. We got to talk about this world. We got to show the vibration so that other people will yearn for that.
Yeah. And I
And
think for go ahead.
what? I was just going to say it magnetizes them to
Yeah.
wanting better.
The energy.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, like with this whole process, like so many thoughts that I used to have that would keep me in these loops have just collapsed. And the way I even move about in the world, if I have to talk to people, is so different because I'm not so consumed about this up here that I actually could be more present and I could actually like shift within the current space, you know.
Well, do you feel that you need to do anything physical anymore? Like even physical sexuality doesn't even call to me anymore because it's so dense and it's not from a connected space. It feels very physical and attraction and all these 3D shit because it's all mapped there, right?
Yeah.
Where you're wanting to talk about philosophy and change the world and resonating at this higher frequency and not getting pulled down by alcohol, but talking about stuff that matters. That's all very 5D and that's pulling you out of the space even in the moment. And I bet you if we had them on and they talked about their experience, they would say like you just kept phasing in and out and we couldn't talk to you sometimes or whatever because of some of that frequency. You were trying to pull them to their vibration and you give up in the middle because they couldn't see it. Maybe one could because she's starting to bridge a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that bad? No.
No.
You're going on your path. They're going on theirs.
Yeah, like it's it's like I've been trying to assess this and I'm like, why don't I like this person anymore? Like she's my friend. Like we had a fallout in 2019 when I was first on this journey and like I had to cut her off because she was just not understanding. But and then like, I repaired it with her per my psychologist to clear the air. And I
Mm.
did, but it just didn't feel the same. Like I just don't feel emotionally safe with this person. And like she's nice, she's
So
supportive.
what was the thing that precipitated it? It was a loss of trust, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that you weren't compatible with her or they didn't talk
Loss
about
of
the right
trust.
things. That's what I see with all of them.
Yeah.
I have girlfriends that I've had that, and it's like I reach back out and I'm testing to see if if the growth is there, and growth was there, but I was growing at the same time. So now we're still not even at the same level sometimes. Not that I'm
Mm-hmm.
better or whatever, but it's just like that trust is so. And my son preaches it all the time, and nobody understands it. They think he's just like holding everybody to too high of a standard. But it's like, if they're gonna get in the shit and they fucking dagger you or call you out to other people and whatever, I forgive it, but it's like that's always gonna be in them until some point that maybe they cross over or whatever, because it's a defaulting perspective. Like, use those things to blame the other person so you don't have to do your work,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very scary thing in a person that you're gonna hold close.
Yeah, so I just don't like, I don't know what it is. And like, I keep trying to just be like, maybe it's just me. But no, like at one point, you just have to admit, like, it is what it is and like trust yourself. If the connection doesn't feel aligned, okay, you could be friendly with this person, but they don't need to be in your circle.
So can I ask you this? So
Yeah.
once a person's betrayed me, I've got one that betrayed me like 3 times now, and I've
Oh,
always went back. And
oh, that's done.
well, it feels done, but there is some attachment or
Sure.
whatever to trying to hold on to what was there. But do you feel underneath, when you test them, that they're not being truthful
Yeah.
more than half the time?
Like there's some sort of subtlety. Yes. There's just
They're not
something
being
off.
truthful to themselves first,
Yes. Yes.
and it makes it okay to not be truthful to you.
Yes. Absolutely.
And they're saying a mantra to themselves about, okay, maybe I'm spiritual enlightening, I'm much better, using all the keywords, all that kind of stuff. But underneath, my soul is trying to talk to them and saying, okay, here's an invitation, now how do you take it? All of a sudden they don't seize the invitation at that moment, and they're just kind of like questioning it, and then the invitation gets accepted, but after some delay, and you're like, well, what the fuck, did they have to justify in their mind how they're gonna do this or whatever? The truthfulness in the soul that's very important to me is in that instant when you connect with that person,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like opening. It's like, okay, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tentative, I might be a little bit scared, but I'm opening to the possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then a trust starts to go, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a testing, it's just like open, and then they open a little bit more, and
Yes.
open, and then they open a little more.
Yes.
And it's like baby steps, and when you get to it, it's like, holy fuck. But in my case, the sexuality turned into play with that girlfriend I was talking about, which was fine, but it put this arm's length in the opening, which was really comfy and stuff like that. But play, just for the fact of play, right now it doesn't even compute anymore. It's like, if the body and spirit don't come together, then
Mm-hmm.
you're just
What's the point?
masturbating in another person, or whatever, or feeling pleasure, or sitting in the field of the other person
Mm-hmm.
just to feel good. And I talked to her recently about that, and I just said, I don't know what I want now, but I'm exploring it here, and it's like, I want that all inness. I want
Mm-hmm.
that. And that doesn't mean getting married or anything of the sort. It's like, all in, let's just see what shows up. I'm tired of the bullshit, and I'm tired of the play shit where I have to kind of distance it so that we all feel safe. And part of that was my mechanism, because it was like, if the rest isn't all in, all I can do is make it play. But then it was hollow, and my body wasn't responding, her body wasn't responding. It was crazy. So we need that intimacy, we need that depth, we need that all inness, we need that dedication to giving up everything that doesn't define us anymore. And I switch it from play to innocence now, because now it's like, okay, I want Anya in my life, so I'm going to talk to her deeper about it. And then when she engages, then we talk deeper, and we keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And we're finding that there was nothing really blocking us other than our own fucked up thoughts of, okay, last time I went that deep, somebody took advantage of me, or last time this happened, I got hurt, my heart was broken. Heartbroken. I would really, really love people to sit back and look at what heartbroken was. And you're going to find out that that heart was built on 50% of the other person's love. And the minute they were gone, it shattered you because 50% was with him. In that moment, if you're feeling heartbroken, take back all that is yours energetically, make a wall, say right here, I give you back your heart, you give me back my heart. I choose to heal right here and right now. But if you sit with that putridness of you half in him and that bullshit that goes on afterwards, you're just cursing yourself to hell.
Yep.
So take yourself back, start rebuilding for you. Do it right here and right now. If you're sitting heartbroken because your lover left you or whatever, sit in meditation, ground the shit out of yourself, take all of your stuff back, no matter what the fuck they care energetically, and give them back theirs. That's the only moment you're going to be able to resolve what happened in the first place for you, and they'll figure out theirs, and maybe you'll come together, maybe you won't. It's not your choice.
Yeah.
But your relationship was to get you to that point to make a fucking choice. And you know how many people will sit in that soup for 6, 10, 20 years of being hurt by that other person? They are not choosing to do their work. And that's a choice. But don't sit there and be a victim and claim that all men are bad and all this kind of shit, because you didn't choose you and to clean up you.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the other person, them changing, them saying sorry, them anything. You are sitting in a pot of your own shit. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of wounded people saying, what the fuck? And because you've self-identified with being that state and feeling that way, it's defined everything for you. And it's not healthy. And I love you for it. I've been there. I've done that. It's no fun. It feels like shit. Yes, here, little child. Choose you right here and right now. Really simple thing. Choose to take all your energy back right here and right now. Say these words with me, and your life will change. It has no choice. Once your energy is back with you, you can't do nothing about him. That emotion you're feeling is maybe theirs. You don't even know who you are, because half of you is sitting with him being angry and having a fucking pity party with each other.
Yep.
Deep breath, calm down, let it go, and you'll be so much freer.
Dude, yeah. That right there. You're like describing, we can talk about this on another day, but like my friend just got through a breakup. I already knew it was going to happen, but I was rooting her on. But the way the dynamics were, I was like, okay, this, and like she was too afraid to speak up her needs in the beginning because she feared that she would be abandoned. But then 3 months goes by, or however long goes by, where she invested more of herself, like you said, and had 50% or more of this person, and she lost herself. And now like this guy is like, I need to work on myself. With summer approaching, where you feel things are actually getting serious, but with summer approaching, I got to work on myself, I want to be a better version for you, and then dip. And I'm just like,
and how could you see the train wreck happening? She wasn't honoring her own boundaries. He was taking advantage. It's probably the pattern that she's always been through.
Yep.
And he was looking for somebody strong enough to call him out on it, but she wasn't strong enough.
Yep.
So the whole thing imploded on itself, and they replayed what happened 5 times before, and now everybody's hurt.
Exactly.
If these patterns are showing up in your life, it is a fucking sledgehammer to the side of the head saying something's off. Start talking to somebody. Spend some time with somebody. The people outside your life can see it. They're trying to love you and say, okay, whatever. Last time you got mad at me when I told you this thing. Step out with somebody. And if it's not a friend that you feel safe with, step out with somebody that's a healer. We can see through people. We see their source code. We can help you undelete those lines of code and make some choices. And then the next one won't happen.
Yep.
Because you're living completely unconsciously. You're living in the dream of this is how it's supposed to work, and he's supposed to love me, and it's supposed to be like this, and this is the fairy tale, and blah, 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 blah. and you're just angry. No wonder fucking women are angry at men, because it's men's fault. No, it's your fucking own fault. It's a pattern that your mother gave you and the whole world taught you that you didn't have any choice in. Be angry at them. Don't be angry at the man that's trying to do his own work at the same time and looking for somebody to interface with that you're not engaging with, and vice versa. The women are looking for an interface in a strong man. We've been taught a whole bunch of other stuff that fucks us up and says be feminine and don't stand in your power and be safe to women and treat them well. And we haven't even been told what that is. So you're blaming us, and she's saying no need to be angry. No, this is at the root of everything. It's all about patriarchy, and it's all about the men are fucking things up. Women have way more power than they'll ever admit to. And they've been driving a lot of the boat, and they created a lot of the stuff that's going on. It happened to be a man in the figurehead. You know how many men are used around sexuality and control and stuff in the back room that we don't even know about. So we all own it. We all are the fucking cause of all the shit. I hate to see one side saying this, the men are bad and the women are bad. I even conjecture to say the toxic masculinity that women talk about so heavily is actually women that are in toxic masculinity, because they don't know some of the integrity and the container stuff, because they're not in a man's body and they can't be as grounded and all these things. It's not bad. It's because we're physically different and we're meant to be different. So but it's projected on men as we're doing it, but it's not always us. So
let's wrap it up.
Yeah, Amanda says it is. I'm not sure to what point, but once we see this and apply it to situations in life, then we lose the judgment of it. It just is. We both play roles. Yeah, everybody's playing roles. Nobody's bad, nobody's good, but we got to stand in the light of we're all contributing to it, and we're all in a victim some way, shape, or form. So I can't remember what we said we were going to talk about in this one. I just wanted to make sure the other one was illusions fading. Yeah, we covered that. Alcohol and friends.
And what the fuck?
There we go. In conclusion, there's fucking energies that nobody understands. I feel I'm connected, but there's something that says, no, you can't understand this. And no, the veil doesn't come off completely. And every time I turn around, there's a new level of collective trauma, intergenerational trauma, all this kind of stuff that's coming off through me. It does not feel good. It makes me want to vomit. It makes me want to cry. It gives me despair sometimes. And I just keep grounding it and fucking putting it into the earth and transmuting it. But my son and I hate to say it, we're like almost at the end of our rope some days. It's just my body hurts so much and I don't want to get out of bed. And there's only so much binge watching of Homeland and Sex and the City that we can do. But we're doing something. It's a thankless job right now. And just keep breathing, and a cup of salt water. I drink about 6 of these a day. There's about 1.5 liters of water in there with a little pinch of salt. It's all I can do. The minute my body, or I feel that dryness in my throat, I drink and I drink and I pee and I pee. But can you imagine all the shit that's coming out of my system?
Oh yeah.
So you're not being cursed. You haven't done something wrong. You haven't missed anything. It's all absolutely perfect. Just keep breathing, and anything that hurts, just let it go and let it pass through you, and forgive and forgive and forgive until it just doesn't, because we're holding on to so much stuff we can't even see. Look at how many millions of lines of code that are in there that are all our old past programming, and they were all to teach us and make us powerful and create a boundary. It's not that we made a mistake or we missed something or we did it wrong. We were never taught those things. We're creating new possibility for everyone. It's massive. And I'm going to tell you right here and right now, when we're done this, we are an energetic repository of everything that every human being on this planet is going to have to get through. And we're going to be able to touch them, look in their eyes, shine our aura on them, and they will know. Because we led the way, we showed the way, we understood, we felt the pain, so that all the other parts of us that aren't completely aligned yet can start to get the seed of a new frequency and a new vibration that will show them the way over the bridge to freedom for all of us.
Well said.
So there's a reason. It's just we're not over there yet, so we can't really see what the milk and honey is.
Yeah.
So And Amanda calls it self-love, which is exactly what it is. It's always
Exactly.
back to self. There's nothing you can do
Yes.
for anybody else. We're not here to bring them across the bridge. We're not here to fix the collective. We're not here to do anything but just love us so that we can be pure, and then the rest will sort itself out.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Go enjoy your
Oh,
excitement for the afternoon, and everybody as well. We uncovered a lot of earth today, and thank
yeah.
you, Amanda, for all your beautiful comments.
Thank you, Amanda.
I think Candace was in there earlier too. I'm not sure if she's still on, but it's been a blast, and we'll hopefully be back on Thursday and doing more beautiful stuff. Enjoy all. Loving you all. Hope to see you soon. Bye. Stay strong.